Harsh kicks, unintentional but brutal challenges, and terrifying injuries. Football fans have seen it all. To reduce rough play, the idea of introducing another blue card in football was recently given, which would change the sport forever. And since fans will most likely witness scenes like this less and less often from now, let's take a look at the 15 ugliest football tackles that deserved a heavier punishment.
Ottavio!
Nee, dit moet je ook helemaal niet.
Vai Pepe, and a penalty.
Really close to actually losing my leg, and
at number 15 we have a completely intentional harsh foul committed entirely due to provocations and dirty games. It was a Spanish La Liga match in the 2022-23 season when Valencia was away to Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. The match was going great for the home side, which couldn't lose more points in the title race with Barcelona. Real were leading 2-0 early in the second half, but the interesting events happened in the 70th minute. Vinicius was again the centre of attention with his provocations to basically every opposing Valencia player. At one point, however, Gabriel Paulista's patience ran out and he let his emotions get the better of him, roughly kicking Vinnie with absolutely no intention of playing with the ball. It looked like we were watching Pepe reincarnated in another player, however playing not for Real but for Valencia. But don't worry, you will see some original Pepe specialties, so stay till the end. At number 14 we head to the exact opposite situation. The good and chill boy Heung Min Son was so reluctant to inflict such immense and agonising pain on his opponent that he literally repented for minutes after his horrible foul on Andre Gomez. The game was from the 2019-20 season of the Premier League between Everton and Spurs. The Portuguese player received the ball down the left flank in Son's area of the pitch. The Korean ran from his back and tackled him to take the ball away, but instead twisted Gomez's ankle horribly. The scenes from the TV were limited, but there were pictures on the internet of the injury after the game. Next up, we have the most recent horror foul in the Premier League. Sheffield United's Mason Holtage against the skillful winger Karu Mitoma. It was a match day from matchday 25 when Sheffield and Brighton played at Bramall Lane. It was just the beginning of the game when Holgate did something which is seen much less frequently in the last 20 years of football. He made a very dirty tackle on Mitoma's knee, which had huge potential to end the Japanese man's career forever. Holgate's studs landed right on Mitoma's kneecap, but luckily for the Japanese, it all went off safely for him as he even provided an assist for one of Brighton's goals in the 5-0 win. At number 12, however, we have one of not just the most unusual fouls out there, but also one of the most memorable football moments ever. It was the final of the 2006 World Cup when two massive football nations met for the ultimate triumph, France versus Italy. Both teams really fought to the death for the win, even using some dirty tricks. Marco Materazzi was remembered for exactly this on that iconic night, but in the end he took Zinedine Zidane's anger. The Italian was trying to distract the French midfielder, telling him what kinds of things he wanted to do to his sister, and at one point Zidane just turned and headbutted him viciously in the chest. Of course, he was sent off for that action, and France subsequently lost the final, and even though the video is titled Fouls That Deserved a Heavier Punishment, it looks like Zidane took a very harsh punishment for being sent off in his last ever match for the national team. And to close the first 5 tackles in today's video, we head to a Bundesliga match from the 2020-21 season. Let me ask you a question. Do you know the definition of a scissor tackle? Let me show you. It was a game between Hoffenheim and Wolfsburg, and the away side was fighting hard for a top 4 spot. Yes, they did this at the end and qualified for the Champions League, but things didn't go quite well for Wolfsburg that day. They were trailing by 1 goal in the final minutes of the game and even sent their goalkeeper into the opposition penalty area for one last chance. Well, the corner was poor and Hoffenheim sent a counter-attack. Munas Dabur was running to the empty goal and was just about to shoot the ball for a 3-1 when defender Ottavio cut into his legs. A direct card and a loss for Wolfsburg. A true Brexit tackle, isn't it? The first representative of the top 10 on our list was a very precise imitation of the Bundesliga logo. No, seriously, how can you commit such a dangerous foul in the face of the opponent? If you have no idea exactly which foul we were talking about, let us show you. It was a Champions League group stage between Ajax and Bayern Munich. Nicolas Tagliafico was receiving a long pass, but Thomas Muller attempted to clear it, resulting in brutally kicking his opponent in the face. A lot of people were claiming that Muller wasn't seeing his opponent, but to be honest, this is absolutely unacceptable. To take such a dangerous action without making sure what is happening behind your back. At number 9, we have chosen a rough, career-ending tackle that wasn't even booked. The game is from November 2019, when Liverpool and Napoli played at Anfield in their 5th match of the Champions League group stage. In a situation in the first half, Napoli set a great one-touch counter-attack with Fabian Ruiz passing forward to Dries Mertens. Liverpool's high defensive line forced Van Dijk to stay around the centre line. Then, the Dutch was literally all in with his tackle, because if he made a mistake, Mertens would have been in a 1v1 situation against Alisson. Yes, at first it seemed like a clean tackle, but the replay showed the twist in Mertens' ankle. Scary scenes. The next spot is reserved for Real Madrid's midfielder, Federico Valverde, and his attempted murder of a foul, really. The match was against the local rival Atletico Madrid for the Spanish Super Cup final in 2019. Unlike recent games between the two Madrid teams, the derby that night was filled with everything but goals. Particularly memorable was Valverde's tackle at Morata's feet when the striker was going 1v1 with the goalie in the 115th minute. The Uruguayan midfielder, however, really sacrificed himself and made sure the team would at least go to the penalty shootouts, snapping Morata for a very, very rough challenge, under Sergio Ramos' shout, "Kill him, kill him." Well, afterwards Real Madrid beat their rival during the penalty shootouts and won the title. All the fouls so far were really dangerous, but apart from the case of Andre Gomez, none of the others caused serious injuries. Well, this does not apply to the next tackle on our list. The game was a Europa League group stage match between PSV Eindhoven and Manchester United from 2015. Manchester United's 20-year-old left-back Luke Shaw was starting his second full season for the team. On one of his appearances in the attack, Shaw found himself in a great position to shoot to the goal, but the next moment he experienced pain that he probably hasn't ever experienced in any other time in his life. The PSV defender Hector Moreno made a sliding tackle in Shaw's tibia, leaving the Englishman with a double leg fracture and the potential end of his career. However, everything went well for Shaw, but after his 288-day recovery, he admitted that some doctors had said to him that he could have lost his leg. Nemanja Vidic, the definition of a warrior on the pitch. He was really the meaning of passion and rock-solid body in a single footballer. In a certain period, he was arguably the best centre-back in the world, playing for Man United, with some fans even putting him ahead of Rio Ferdinand. Yes, he was an amazing defender, and it is no secret that the forwards were often scared when they had to face him, and Kyle Walker can admit it for sure. The game was between Spurs and Man United in 2013, with the result being 2-1 for Tottenham in the second half. There was a no-man's ball in United's half. Both Vidic and Walker were running wildly towards the ball, but the Serb was the clear winner in the race. The collision was so vicious that Walker was thrown into the air and ended up like 10 yards away from where the tackle was. At number 5, we have Pepe's monstrous tackle versus Dani Alves. Yes, the two had quite an interesting relationship on the pitch, playing for Real Madrid and Barcelona respectively. But here we have a background story for you. During the Champions League semi-final in the 2010-11 season, Alves made a harsh tackle on Pepe, resulting in him being sent off. Then, a couple of months later, in literally the next game between Barcelona and Madrid, Pepe had his revenge. The scoreline was 2-2 at Santiago Bernabeu, and Dani Alves was down on the touchline to clear a ball in Madrid's half. Well, he technically did it, but at what cost? He felt Pepe's evil side, falling on the ground after one of the defender's most rough tackles in his career. Amazing scenes, literally El Clasico's golden age. Next up, we have truly a horror tackle, even though it was totally unintentional. Yes, believe us, if you can't stand heavy scenes, you can look away for a minute. The two Brazilian sides, Argentinos Juniors and Fluminense, were playing against each other in 2023. In the 55th minute, Real Madrid's long-time left-back Marcelo made a wonderful turn with the ball, starting a new attack for his team. He attempted to escape from the opposing player, Luciano Sanchez, but stepped on his tibia, breaking both his anterior and medial cruciate ligaments in the knee. Terrible, terrible injury. And entering the top 3, can't help but do it in style, showing one of the most iconic fouls in history. We are talking about the 2010 World Cup final between the Netherlands and Spain, when Nigel de Jong chose to turn into a kung fu fighter against Xabi Alonso for a second. It was only the 28th minute of the game, and de Jong really risked leaving his team with a man down in the middle of the first half, but instead was only booked with a yellow card. Well, in the end, a lot more happened in the final. That Robin miss against Iker Casillas, the amazing defensive work from both teams, and of course the winning goal by Iniesta in the 116th minute. And when we talk about the ugliest tackles in football, there's no way to feature Pepe only once, so here he is again. And I'm sure you'll all remember this ugly, dirty and reckless tackle from the Portuguese in the 2012-13 season. Getafe were away to Real Madrid and it was already the 85th minute with the score being 2-2 when Los Blancos were intensely attacking for the winning goal. Everything fine, but Pepe's plan wasn't this, apparently. In a counter-attack for the visitors, Fernando Casqueira received the ball in the penalty area and was pushed by Pepe. But not only that, the Portuguese then kicked his opponent twice, in his leg and in his back, causing him terrible pain. This is also the main reason why Real Madrid fans didn't like Pepe very much. He often gave in to his emotions during the time in the club and his professional demeanour could not have been relied on. And here we are, the ugliest foul ever. It's from the English Premier League in 1997. Man United were playing Leeds. Roy Keane and Erling Haaland's dad, Alfie, had a very rough relationship on the field. 5 minutes before the end, Keane tried to play harshly on Haaland, but instead he injured himself. The Leeds player was pushing Keane to get up and resume the game, thinking he was faking. But no, the Man United midfielder had torn his ACL and was out for a long period of time. Then, roughly 3 years later, the two faced again, with Haaland already wearing the colours of Man United's main local rival, Man City. Yes, Keane had not forgotten for all this time to have his revenge. In a very early stage of the Manchester derby, he tackled Haaland right in the tibia, getting sent off immediately. Apart from that, he received a 3-match suspension plus a £5,000 fine. But not only that, a year and a half later, he wrote in a biography about the moment of his career, admitting that everything was made absolutely intentionally. What was the outcome? Well, the FA punished him for 5 more matches and a fine of £150,000. Probably this was a little punishment given the tackle he made on Haaland. What do you think? And yes guys, those were 15 of the ugliest tackles football has ever seen. Now, if you liked it, you can hit that subscribe button and like for more similar content, which will be specifically made by us for the Blue Card channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.